Hey everyone, it's Tom with MTG Spec. I just wanted to have a little talk today about basic lands and collecting them. Basic lands are, the basic currency of Magic, and a lot of them have sort of an unseen value that a lot of people don't appreciate. So I just wanted to do a little video just talking about basics, collecting basics, what to look for, what not to look for. One of the earliest predictions on this channel was that the Jumpstart set coming out, which still has not technically released, was going to have a basic land that was going to hit the $10 to $25 mark. And the prediction further said that the rumor that there was going to be a Phyrexian text basic land was going to be true, and that it was going to be one of the more mythic rare type packs. And all three of those things came true. I will show you real quick what the prices were going for. Alright, let's pan up here. So these were some of the eBay prices. You can see they're $24.99 for the Phyrexian basic land, which turned out to be a swamp. I didn't really predict what color it would be, but turned out to be a swamp. But yeah, that's true. So I just wanted to talk about the value of basics, how to evaluate them, and really that they're just completely underappreciated. If I were to pick one card to be the most powerful card in all of Magic, it'd be this. It'd be Basic Island. If you think about like a massive game of Wizard's Tower, where everyone shares a deck and every single permanent ever made is like all put in one tower. Just imagine, would you rather get an island that you could tap for 1 blue mana, I don't know, 100 turns in a row, or would you rather get a Black Lotus that's, you tap for 3 blue mana once and it's gone? Even if you look at the Power 9, what do you see? You see 3 blue cards at the top. That Time Walk, the Ancestral Recall, and Time Twister all need blue mana. And, imagine if Island had been added to the reserve list, back when all the other cards were. It'd be obviously stupid to do to a basic land. But, if that had been a reserve list, a basic island would be like $2,000 now for any of them, just because of what they do and how powerful they are. And granted, there's a good reason why we take basics for granted. You get a giant stack of them anytime you get a fat pack or a bundle. You get one in every single booster pack as well. So there is a glut of them on the market, but they're not all created equal, as we saw with the Phyrexian Swamp. That one was special, and so I wanted to give a little bit more insight as to why I predicted there would be a $25 basic land in Jumpstart set. Because as far as I can tell, no one else on the internet's been talking about this at all. So what are some of the things you want to look for? And what are the types of basic lands you can get? Meaning, what are the strata of basic lands? I think there's 3. You're basically going to have the sub $1 basic land. That's going to be the bulk basic land, the 99.9% of all of them. You're going to have the $1 basic lands, which are actually pretty high if you compare it to a lot of these rares. I mean, if you get a Solifuse Spider from Eternal Masters, which is a 1999 booster pack, that's a 27-cent rare. So if you're getting a $1 basic land, even Wastes, which is not a even official basic land type, you'll notice on Wastes they leave that area empty where it says basic land type Wastes. This is just a special basic land from the Oath of the Gatewatch set. That alone is probably worth more than most rares in the game, and that's just a full art basic. But let's take a look at some of them, and let's see kind of how they break down a little bit. And I also wanted to talk about what are some of the things you want to look for in a basic land that would make it valuable. So number one, and actually we'll do this in ascending order. So the least important thing is actually that the land is mint condition. That's pretty much expected. There's so many basic lands out there. You do not want to have non-mint basics as your collectible ones. or as your tradable ones, or the ones you use to bling out your decks. For the most part, you want mint condition. So that's actually one of the least important categories. Next, it doesn't hurt if they're beautiful. That's certainly something to think about. This is a beautiful basic land. It's not worth much. From Avacyn Restored. Here's one that's a partner to it. This was the Innistrad, the original Innistrad basic. Sort of the same theme. Neither one's worth much, but beautiful. They are beautiful, so that's nice. And there could be people who are looking for those. But for there to be value in a basic land, you want something a little bit more exotic. Like this, from Ikoria. Nothing exotic about it. The art doesn't stir your feelings. Doesn't make you revulsed or, beautifully sad or poetic feeling or anything. It's just a landscape. It's just fine, and that's what most basics are. And you want some sort of positive emotion, and by positive I mean, you want to vibe with the land somehow. Like you want to feel like, it's either a beautiful place you'd want to go to, or something so repulsive you can't take your eyes off it. You want some sort of emotional reaction. It's like any piece of art. But most of them are just kind of bland. They're just kind of there. So these are more examples. There's another area of Ikoria. This one's even flavorful because it shows the triome crystals. So what? It's just there. Doesn't do anything. So you want something that's exotic, and a lot of times that's going to include a foreign language card or a foil. This card in foil probably going to be worth a little bit more. If you put it in a foreign language, particularly Russian and Japanese seem to be the top two. You're gonna have something a little more interesting. And so here's an example of one that's this is both. It's Japanese and it's foil, and since it's from Ikoria, which is the set that gave us Godzilla, it being in Japanese certainly doesn't hurt its long-term value. That's something that could be a consideration. But you also want something that's like full art. Like for me, I kind of missed the boat when they did the secret lair of the Eldraine Wonderland, which were all the snow-covered basic lands that were foil, because I didn't want to spend $30 on 5 lands that were not full art. I was offended by that because I'm such a fan of full art. This is actually one of my least favorite full arts. It's fine, it's lovely, but it's not that great. But still, these Zendikar full arts, the original Zendikar, those are $1 or $2 cards. These ones are probably like closer to 50, but they're in that dollar range. They're not just bulk. And like I said, even if you are just a player, you don't want to be in a position where maybe you open a Jumpstart booster and you get that cool Phyrexian lore or Phyrexian text basic land, and you just throw it in the LGS's bulk pile, because that's a $25 card. That's equivalent of like 6 booster packs worth of trade bait that you could use to better your deck. So even if your only goal is to play, you still want to be able to appreciate the value of basic lands. Another thing, is have they been reprinted? Now this is a Bucket Island, which is one of my favorite pieces of art, but this was already in the original Zendikar. That's something that can actually hurt the value. One of the cool things about the Jumpstart cards, which we'll actually take a little bit of a look at later on, is that a lot of them are brand new and unique. Now here's one that I just got today, actually, from M21. Sorry. This is one of the new lands that they're doing, and I wasn't that impressed with it, but something about it kept my interest. Something made me want to look again, and that's an indicator that these are probably going to age pretty well. It's unique, and a lot of people have complained that these M21 variant borders are just basically stuff that's being reused from the sort of failed Planeswalker series, like the Chandra, Gideon, Jace Planeswalker booster packs that feature them. A lot of this is just like leftover art, but it's still pretty cool. But you definitely want something that's a little bit weird. Now, I still don't know really how to feel about snow-covered basics in general. They do count as basic lands in every way. You can have any number of them in your deck, even Commander. I don't think it adds too much value. This one's from Modern Horizons, and the fact that this one's full art as well as from a kind of a expensive limited set probably means it'll do okay. It was probably going to stay in that dollar range down the road. But the best thing you could have would be a basic land that is weird in some way. So mint is good, beautiful is better, exotic, meaning foil or foreign language, those are even better. But if you can get something that's really weird, then that's the best. A misprint where you see a piece of another card, or something that's just rare in some level. Something severely misprinted, or just from a set that's really strange. Those are the ones you want. These. I have a friend who was trying to put together a play set of these from Theros Beyond Death, the Constellation cards. Cause he just wants this to be his basics whenever he drafts, and there's a lot of people looking for these that really like them. So I think these are going to age pretty well. And then this is pretty weird just by nature of the print run. This is a beta mountain, and just the fact that it's an original beta mountain with kind of a nice sheen, that means it's going to stay pretty high. Now, once we pass this, we're above the dollar range. All right, we're now into the high-end basic lands. Beta basic lands. It's not outrageous to pay $10 a pop. It's down the road. People are gonna look back on buying these for $10 as the halcyon days of yore. Here's another one that's pretty cool. This is the island from the unsanctioned box set. In that box set they give you 5 different foil lands with this kind of cool gold border treatment, and they also give you 5 normal ones. But again, this is the same cool design. This is the rebate card that made it worth buying unsanctioned. Like this is why people get them, particularly islands. Don't underestimate that. Islands have a premium over every other basic land type. And then we get to something like this. Ignore the fact there's a stupid Kaladesh Inventions Mox Opal on the back. Boo, nobody cares. No, this is a island from Unstable, and this is one of the very rare, because they only did 5 artworks for the basic lands. It wasn't like a normal set where you would bust a box and you would get some kind of basic land foil in almost every box. They only did 5 artworks as opposed to like 15, 20 or whatever it is. So these were very rare. I opened an entire case of Unstable trying to get a full set of these lands mint fresh, and I got 2 basic lands out of an entire case of 6 booster boxes. That's pretty insane. So getting one of these full arts, which by the way, Wizards knew this was going to be basic. This is the only basic land, this one and the Unstable are the only 2 that they ever put the hologram on that indicates a rare. So even though it's a basic land, they knew it was in effect a de facto rare. But this was $100 out of the gate. I think it's still probably about $75 to $100. But this one, being rare, being from a weird set, being one of the only basic lands to have this sort of holo foil thing, that makes it unique. And this is one of the high tier basic lands that you can get in the game. Now, I find it interesting that a lot of people who run these channels, they talk about investing, and yet they all poo-poo secret layers, which makes me laugh, because there's very few other Magic products where you can literally just double your money overnight. Secret Lair is one of them. Right now we're looking at another example of a very weird card. Excuse me while I get a sip of my Willie's tea. This one is the mountain from Arabian Nights. So it's got the Arabian Nights scimitar. And the reason this was unique was they didn't really mean to put a mountain in the set. It was just kind of filler. So it was the only basic land in that set as well. So that's kind of a cool and unique one. Yeah, let me show you. So here's MTG Goldfish, which does a lot of prices. And what's wrong with this picture? when they list, the top cards in the set. You got mythic, 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 rare, 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 mythic, mythic, basic land, rare, rare, mythic, and then more basic lands. What's the basic land that made it into, we'll call it the top 15? This one was really cool, actually. This was one of the better Jumpstart lands. This was the mill basic land, and so the face in this looks like a millstone. This is also the year that mill was added to the keywords for discarding or cards off the top of your deck. So this one's sort of gonna have a little nostalgic push too. But when I look at stuff like the mountain, this to me is a great example of a perfect storm type basic land. This was the Secret Lair Godzilla series. So it's full art, which is one of the things that adds to it being beautiful. It does have beautiful art. Presumably it's mint. It's also foil, so it's got a little bit of an exotic touch to it. It is in Japanese, which adds a little bit to the exotic area. It also has frickin' Godzilla, so it's weird. And they had a very limited print run. So this has the perfect combination of factors, and that's why the Secret Lair, which sold for what, $29.99 each, just sold for $99 this week. So if anyone is telling you, oh, don't get Secret Lairs, they're just a fad, they're stupid, they're screwing over the local game stores, some of those things may be true, but when you understand the basics of what makes basics good, then it's not something you want to overlook. If something like this comes along again, you want to get this set. And with the Godzilla, who knows if they're going to have anything cool like this again. This may be a one and done. They may never top this type thing again. But that being said, let's take a quick look at some of the Jumpstart basics. I haven't really looked over the list too much. I kind of glanced at it, and I'm not going to read all these out, but I'm just going to stop when I see some that I think are going to be valuable, like this one, the Angels Plains. A lot of people run Angel decks. I have an Angel Commander deck led by a Chroma. I wouldn't mind 36 of those or 35 of those, however many basic lands are in there. This is another one that's doing very well, the Unicorns. Again, with these Jumpstart lands, you got to remember, I think there's only one type of Unicorns deck. It's the one that has the Mythic Rare Unicorn in it. So it's not like there's like 4 different Unicorns decks you may encounter. You're only going to encounter that one, and it is weird because it's got the little unicorns coming out of it. You don't see that every day. I think this one's really beautiful, but it's kind of vague what's going on. It's an enchantment land. The one with the geese is kind of cool. Maybe it'd be a good companion piece to the Ornithological Studies Secret Lair that came out. I don't know, but a lot of these are cool. The doggo one. Here's another poker tell from Wizards of the Coast. When you see this doggo picture, you see it in a lot of advertisement type stuff. You see it in a lot of article backgrounds. That's usually an indicator that it's a piece of art they strongly believe in. So that's something to keep an eye out for. If they put it in the packaging, if they put it in the art, if they put it in articles, that's one to watch for no other reason. And we got the millstone face. I kind of like the one with the books. It's just weird. Again, weird is actually one of the best criteria you can have for a basic land. And a lot of these are weird on some level. It's got spooky, creepy, reanimated monsters coming out of it. I like the big hand. A lot of these are really cool. The witch one looks very cool. So some of these are a little vague. I'm going to show you the one that I think has the most long-term potential. This mountain here, the lightning mountain. The only problem with this is it's not in foil. Things that are fiery, things that are lightning, they look super good in foil. This one isn't, but this one I could see being a strong candidate for reuse down the road, like in another core set, maybe the next core set coming out, meaning the 2022 a special set. If they ever do another foil fire and lightning type product where it's like a pre-constructed foil deck, This one with the mountains made of lightning would look super cool in foil. Whereas something like this, the spellcasting mountain, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's vague, kind of Ghostbusters-y. It's not that great. But something like that, like, I think that's one that could have a really strong potential. I kind of like this one just because me and my friend do a podcast called Dinosaur Forest, and this is called Dinosaurs Forest. Close enough. Which, by the way, you should definitely subscribe to the Stormbreaker Films channel if you haven't already. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so that was it for the basics. I just wanted to run through some of those and say, yeah, the basics are going to be currency, going forward. And don't overlook them, don't underestimate them. They could be your friend. All right, das vidanya, y'all.